It should enchant you about learning so you can become a lifelong learner
A-
after
a-
school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just love those words. We should have an enchanting environment for learning for our kids. And I'll never forget that is one of the first things that was talked about in the first book I read on homeschooling homegrown kids, how it was a warm, responsive environment between parent and child. Hi, welcome to the Zan Tyler podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Zan Tyler podcast, Thriving in Your Homeschool. But don't worry, don't leave. She's still here. Zan, let them know you're here.
Hey, everybody.
See,
It's
one day
always great to have Caleb with me. I love these episodes.
I like joining you, Zan. It's fun. As always, got to throw out that reminder, share it, subscribe wherever you're at, Apple, YouTube, check out thezantyler.com. Tell your friends about it, leave comments. Zan, you like reading people's comments, right?
I do. I love reading people's comments.
Let me ask you a question right on the spot. Is it more fun for you on some of these reels that blow up to read the comments that are like negative, but in like a way that they just don't understand yet? Or do you like seeing the more affirming, positive comments?
Of course, I always like seeing the more affirming, positive comments. Some of the comments are just hilarious. People
Right.
really have great senses of humor and they just make me laugh. And then, then you get the snarky comments and you get the comments that they just don't agree. And that's fine. I love what Mike Ferris says. Mike was the president of Homeschool Legal Defense and ADF, Alliance Defending Freedom. And he said, I may not agree with what you have to say, but I'll die for your right to say it. And that's what it
Amen.
means to live in a country with free speech, is that we can agree, we can disagree, but we uphold one another's free ability in a free society to speak.
That's right. And my favorite thing is when the negative people comment, that tells the algorithm that they're engaging with your content, which means they're going to show them even more of your content. So keep them coming. Keep the
Well,
Speaking
somebody
of,
said no publicity is bad. All publicity is good publicity. That's what it was.
that's right. Speaking of, we got a clip to review too. I'm going to tell you who this person is. Are you familiar with the are you familiar with the comedian Theo Vaughn?
I'm not. I'm sorry.
That's even better. That's even better.
And I've
So
not seen this clip yet.
which is great. He's kind of a token redneck, but he totally owns it. But this guy, he makes jokes, and he's interviewed Donald Trump on his show. He's had Dave Ramsey on his show. He had a carny on his show that basically for an hour and a half walks through every carnival ride and how they're rigged. It's just hilarious. But anyways, someone finally asked him about if and when he gets married, what kind of education would he do?
If I had me a little kid, I think I would do homeschooling. If my wife wants to do homeschooling, I would be for it. But I don't want the homeschool kid that stays at home and never meets any kids, even on the weekend or whatever.
So there you have it. He'd homeschool, Zan.
Well, I think we're seeing this from every part of society now. If people have, he said, if my wife wants to do it, I'm good. I just don't want to have those kids that are, stuck at home all the time. Well, I think if there's any reason, in the early years, I would say if there's any reason to homeschool, it's the socialization part. And I think most homeschool parents would echo that because we can decide where our children go and when, and they're not in a classroom with 20 people their same age. Our kids are interacting with kids of all ages, with adults. When I go down to the legislature and I speak at Capitol Days, the one thing representatives or senators always tell me is we can tell when the homeschool students are here. They know how to engage with adults, they know how to shake hands and answer questions, and they're not intimidated by dealing with adults. So
I
it's
love it. And in a really short, funny clip, which kind of shocked people that he said it, he said that, wow, that looks like a good option, and I'm worried about socialization. He didn't say it like that, but
yeah,
he
but
said the
that's
number
right.
one
Yes.
concern of everyone, which actually leads me to our first news article of the day, which appears courtesy of Business Insider. And Title of the article, I worried homeschooling would make my kids antisocial. There it is again. And friendless. I was wrong.
You know, it's really sad when people believe that because the truth is, when we were homeschooling, we'd get our schoolwork done in several hours on most days. Well, then that leaves you a lot of time for your children to do several things. They can be involved in service projects, which means they're helping people in need, whether it's elderly, whether it's sick people or disabled people, people in your neighborhood who just need help. A mother just had a baby, and so I think service opportunities are some of the greatest socialization opportunities in the world. And we have time in a homeschooling world, we have time for lots of that. Our kids can pursue their interests. They can shadow professionals in jobs. They can do internships. They can take missions trips. They have time. Both of my boys worked at the State House when they were in high school. They did the Senate Page program when they were in high school in Washington, D.C. Lizzie had an internship with a large Christian radio station when she was in high school. And so, the opportunities for really great, powerful socialization are there. And now there are co ops, there are homeschool sports leagues. There's just, if you want to know the truth, there are too many opportunities for socialization. And you have to learn how to draw the line as a parent to get your schoolwork done.
Absolutely. It but you nailed something really well. I know Zan has expelled the myth of socialization, but it's very easy to say, in a way, it's easy to say, like, no, no, you're wrong. Don't worry about it. Your kids can be totally social. And then you list all these things, right? Church, youth group, um, which are some youth groups maybe I wouldn't be a proponent of. But I mean, the being out in public during the work hours, the play dates, the co-ops, and where I live in Colorado Springs, I mean, it's almost like you said, not oppressive, but overwhelming. I mean, there's, like, ice skating lessons, horseback riding up the street. My kids don't do all this, by the way, but I'm just saying, a musical theater, dance, regular theater. But what the key takeaway is, I think it's two-part here, and it's hard, right? One, don't worry about it. Your kids can be extremely social, and not just social, but healthy social. And part two, it completely relies on you, the parent, to do the work to find these things to be a part of. So I think it's worth saying this is gonna pull you out of your comfort zone probably a little bit. Zan and I, like, we're aware it is easier to send your kids to a system for 5 days a week and just check off in our mind that it's doing everything for us. So you are taking that piece of socialization and putting it on your plate. So I think it's just worth saying, like, yes, but like you mentioned the volunteer work, I don't think you just signed up for a volunteer bus that came and picked up your kids and took them off and you knew they were volunteering. Like, I'm pretty sure Zan Tyler had to be involved in it. It is hard for a parent to reclaim the fact that the socialization is their job. And so it's two things. One, socialization does not disappear. Pause, but it will disappear if you don't do the job to do these things for and with your children. And it's
And
gonna
and
require work.
that's right. And now we have such a strong homeschool community. If you get stuck, call somebody.
Yes.
Call your state organization, or there's homeschool support groups. There are co-ops where field trips are provided. I know with our state organization, they just took a field trip, bunch of kids from around the state to Charleston, and so there are people who are planning things that you can be a part of, but you do have to take the initiative. And, every family is different. Some families like to stay home more than other families. I mean, it's just, there are going to be as many different takes on socialization as there are families who homeschool. But by and large, by and large, socialization is not a negative issue with homeschooling. It's a positive issue. It's a reason to homeschool.
To quote Melissa, she was in the Homeschool Awakening. She said, "That's always the first thing," and she said, "Well, I don't keep my kids in a drawer," which, for one, I thought was such a strange analogy. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I mean, didn't cross my mind actually, but now I'm concerned. No, yeah, it is
So,
possible. Do the work.
that's
You can do this and your kids will thrive.
This podcast is brought to you by BJU Press Homeschool. Homeschooling is an exciting adventure we take with our children. One of the most challenging parts of this journey is choosing the curriculum you want to use. BJU Press Homeschool is a curriculum you can trust. All the books, resources, and videos have been designed with you and your child in mind. Their curriculum is educationally robust and rich, taking into account that children have different learning styles, strengths, and needs. Mom, you are in charge. BJU Press Homeschool is here to come alongside and support you. Do you need help with the teaching load, or is there a subject you just don't want to teach? Their amazing video courses are available for all grades and almost every subject. BJU Press Homeschool believes that homeschooling can produce a new generation of students who know God, love their neighbors, and stand firm in their faith. For more information, go to bjupresshomeschool.com. That's bjupresshomeschool.com.
Zan, I can't remember if you saw this clip, but this gentleman, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's not exactly a homeschool proponent. I just want to say that, but he does have something good to say about something he recognized about the problem with education. Here it is.
We all know people who, when they graduated high school, ran down the steps on graduation day and threw their notes in the air and said, "No more school," and celebrated that. If you celebrated no more school, school failed at something. Half of what a school should do should get you to be enchanted and excited about learning so that you can become a lifelong learner when you leave school.
It should enchant you about learning so you can become a lifelong learner after school.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Give me your thoughts.
I just love those words. We should have an enchanting environment for learning for our kids. And I'll never forget that that is one of the first things that was talked about in the first book I read on homeschooling homegrown kids, how it was a warm, responsive environment between parent and child where you could engage with your environment, your parents, chosen friends. It was just, it made, um, I don't know, it made learning sound so delightful.
Right,
And
yeah.
and I think that's really what set me on the course for loving homeschooling. And it's like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So I had gone to I had gone to Tennessee to meet with the president of Bryan College and also to meet Pam Tebow for the first time. And so I had stayed at this bed and breakfast, and they said, "Oh, just go up in the Narnia suite." One of the Narnia movies had just come out. And so they had a wardrobe in there, and I opened the wardrobe to put my clothes in it. And all of a sudden, I realized there was no back to this wardrobe. And I was looking at this scene with all these animals, the beavers and a fawn drawn on it. Well, they had created, and they didn't give me any warning. They had created this Narnia moment where you open the wardrobe, there's no back, and you step into this other world when you enter that room, this wardrobe. And so for a minute, it was like being a child again. And that's what we want for our kids. We want them to have that wonder, that experience of wonder and learning so that they love learning.
I think there is something beautiful. I think there's something good, and correct me if I'm wrong, about recognizing, in his case, he's talking about high school, recognizing accomplishing a certain amount of credits or hours or tackling certain things, and you reached enough in high school to be credits, right? That you do celebrate that. It's like you're
Right. That's
honoring,
right. That's
and I
right.
think that's a good thing. But I think if literally it was just like, okay, go here, learn this, regurgitate on test. Go here, learn this, regurgitate on test. And by the way, I'm not going to tell you how to think, or I'm sorry, I'm not going to teach you to think. I'm going to tell you what to think. And so, my God, of course you're exhausted. And so it's interesting because he said, "Wow, we failed," and I wanted to be like, "Yes, yes, we have. Yes, Neil, you're correct." Like, because then I remember reading this quote. It was a meme, and it said, "Hey, remember when we all went to high school and we thought we thought it was the the wildest thing ever, and the day after graduation, we all kind of collectively were like, so what was that?" Because like, when you're just told to be in the same place, and one day you're like, "Hey, you graduated. See you, Zan." It's like,
W-
what
You know,
what was I doing? It's just like,
Well, I think his point was so well taken that you celebrate what you finished because you love learning and you're going on to your next learning adventure. But if you're celebrating the end of learning, like, oh, good, I never have to learn again, there's the failure.
All right, Zan. So speaking of school failing and people choosing to homeschool in mass, Virginia is in the news yet again.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, oh my God.
I
We're
just say
sorry.
we don't want to
Pensil
scare our friends in Virginia with fake news. Okay.
Pennsylvania is in the news. And we got some truancy issues. We got some school district maybe threatening truancy. I don't fully understand this. Walk us through it. What's happening and why should we care?
Okay, there's a school district that's requiring parents to turn in more paperwork than the law requires, and they say they have the right to do that. In legally, there's a principle called giving the government their due. And so, so these parents had given the government their due. They had met with the tenets of the homeschooling law. Well, the school districts wanted to require more. So they have attorneys from Homeschool Legal Defense Association defending them, saying just that they have given you what you're due and they will not give you any more. So we're seeing what makes this particularly concerning is we're seeing all kinds of overreach in many, many states this past year. And parents need to be aware of that. In New Jersey, they wanted to pass a homeschooling law that required a meeting with the school district designee of the superintendent and having your kids get a well check. You talk about intrusive. There was a bill in Illinois where if parents were late turning in their paperwork, it was a criminal offense. They're criminalizing parents. And so we just want to make sure that when you homeschool, you know what the law is. So you give the government their due, you comply with the law, but you don't have to do any more than that. It concerns me because we're seeing this switch from parents being innocent until proven guilty. They're guilty until proven innocent. That is not the basis of our freedom in this country.
Got it. So I don't know all of these things. I've been homeschooling since day one. If I'm a new listener to your show, I'm thinking about homeschooling. Maybe I'm about to start for the first time. My kid's never been in school, or my kid is in school and I pull out. Can you give me some resources? Do I just go straight to HSLDA? As their state home organization? As you've pointed out many times, don't call your school district.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Who should we reach out to?
I would say you have several options. First, find your state organization. Every state has a state org that
Okay.
will, and they're kind of the gatekeepers for homeschooling legislation to keep it as free as possible. You can find a list of those on homeschoolfreedom.com, and you can find a list of those organizations at hslda.org. That's Homeschool Legal Defense Association.org. So go to the people who know. If you know a homeschooling family, you can ask them where they got their information at a co-op or whatever. But the two places you'll find out for sure are your state org and your and HSLDA. They can tell you what the law requires and what the law doesn't require, which is equally as important.
Right, what the law doesn't require.
Mhm.
One more time, homeschoolfreedom.com?
Yes, homeschoolfreedom.com and hslda.org, Homeschool Legal Defense Association.org. And,
Got it.
um, and
And
it
that's
was
and your state organization is actually a good spot for all this stuff. The
yes,
laws,
that's right.
regulations. Several of them have something called umbrella schools, depending on your state if you need that. My state needs that, Colorado, so check. We work with great organization. Christian Home Educators of Colorado. Thank you, I remembered. They have umbrella schools. So yeah, I nailed it.
And
Start
and
there.
and laws are different. I mean,
Yeah,
some
laws are
people
different.
have very low regulation like Texas. And Virginia, you have a religious exemption and don't have to do anything. Other states are more convoluted and require more like New York and Pennsylvania. And so you just need to find out what the law is in your state and understand that that's all you need to do and to comply with.
All right, Zan, and speaking of that, we got one more clip to review. I don't know if you know this guy, Grant Cardone. He drives some people bananas. He
I
drives some people
don't
insane.
know him.
That's he's he runs 10X Conference. He owns an absurd amount of apartment complexes across the country. He has an investment fund. He's got jets. He's that guy. However, he's got some interesting opinions about raising children.
You can't be a great dad if you don't have time with your kids. I mean, if you're sending them off to prison every day, school, letting strangers raise your children, no offense to any of the parents out there. If they're spending 8 hours a day with other people that you don't know what they believe in, don't know what meds they're on, they're parenting more than you are. Me getting a couple hours with a kid is not going to balance out whatever they learn from the kids or the parents or the teachers for 8 hours a day.
Well, what prison, I mean school.
Oh, I had a friend who used to say, American schools are the only place where you get a diploma for doing time.
Oh my gosh, no.
But
Well, I mean,
that is
you know what I
not a
kinda,
fair assessment of all schools, I will say that.
it's right. I do think what I loved about it is he yes, it comes across judgmental. Can we just say that? It does. It comes across abrasive. Top level thinker, business type people
Mhm,
are usually extremely abrasive, and that's
mhm.
okay. I think to just say it. I mean, that's how they build things. You're just a bulldozer all the time. But what I loved is he started with like, look, you can't be a great dad if you don't spend time with your kids. He said
Absolutely,
he
and
said the
that was
most
his
basic.
point.
He
That's
said the
right.
most basic. That's the most basic principles. Like
That's right. That's
I don't
right.
care if you're the Pope or like, wait,
Yep.
all the popes can't
It
have kids, but not a good example. Like, I don't care if you're like this, you know what I mean? Amazing human. You can't, and maybe you are a good dad in theory, but if you don't spend time with your kid, it is impossible to carry the good dad father stuff to your
Yes.
child.
Yes, that's it.
I love how he said it was just so
Well,
basic, Sam.
and he said things like, "If you don't know what they believe, you need to know what your kids' teachers believe if they're in school. Um, if they don't know what meds your kids are on." I mean, all these things are important. I mean, that's what makes homeschooling powerful, is you know those things about your children.
That's right. So we'll leave you with that, everybody. Uh, if you're listening to this show, let's be honest, you're already on this page, so be encouraged. You know,
Yes.
we know it's hard. We sure there's days with tears. Stick with it. Hang in there. Your
And
kids are
spend
going to be
time with
grateful.
your kids, that's right. That is the whole crux of the matter, and,
I just saw a photo. We got different revolving electronic photos around the house, and it's constant. We basically live in this constant reminder in the Price household that your kids are growing up, because you have these memories, of certain things. I don't know if you feel this way. You probably remember a certain thing with Lizzie or your other kids, and you see the picture, like, man, in my mind, she was much older, but look,
she was
wow,
7,
like
yes, and we thought she was half grown, yes.
that
Yeah,
7-year-old is gone forever. Because she's now married and doing well, and I
that's
don't need to
right,
tell her whole life
has
story, but you know what I mean? Like,
children,
she's an
yes,
adult,
children of her own, that's right, and she's
and
doing great, and I tell you, I have, we had our first, grandchild graduate from high school in May.
wow,
We've got our second
congratulations.
one coming up this May. Well, when my kids went off to college, I thought somebody had cut off my right arm. I was just
Oh,
grieved losing them because we had spent so much time together. And I was not prepared to have to do that again with my grandkids. I just have to say that because we get to spend so much time with them and we miss them. I miss Tristan. I'm gonna
that's
miss
right.
Brody. I just love being with them.
Well,
I know.
on that note, I'm going to sign off because I'm going to spend the rest of today through this evening on a leaders retreat with just me and my oldest son, um, based on this
That's
exact stuff.
amazing. That's
So
right.
we're out of here, Zan.
Way to go, Caleb.
I'm trying. So everybody, you know the drill. Go subscribe. Go share this with your friends. We love being with you. See you later.